Okay, ma'am, I'll share it in WhatsApp. I'm
Karthik.
Naresh sir,
Karthik.
yes, sir.
students have not joined, sir. Only 11 students have joined, sir.
प्रतीक, ये फर्स्ट ईयर के लिए ही बोला क्या? ओटीपी बीओपी के ओटीपी बैच के लिए सेकंड ईयर के लिए नहीं बोला था?
नहीं बोला है ना मैम, सबको बोला
रश्मि
है।
मैडम बोल रही है नहीं बोला है। अब मैंने अभी रश्मि को कॉल किया, एक बार चेक करती हूँ फिर। पता नहीं
सेकंड ईयर मतलब जो 1921 है उनके लिए नहीं बोला है। एक दत्ता सर की बैच और उनको तो बोला ही है।
हाँ, दत्ता सर के बैच से कोई नहीं ज्वाइन कर रहा है, देखती हूँ मैं। चलती।
हाँ हाँ।
Karthik.
So tell me, sir, if you want, can I contact Pratik, sir?
No, I want is that that video to be on. No, I want to test my video. My lights is not good. Lights and all.
Sir, your video is enabled, sir. You can switch on.
Yeah, it's enabled. Okay.
Yes,
Now it's
yes.
enabled. Yeah.
Deba, sir, is it working?
Hi, Naresh. Can you hear
Hi,
me?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're quite audible, sir. Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Very good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm sorry, I won't be able to recognize everyone. Naresh, shall we start?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. We can. So, Biba, sir.
Sir, will you start with the welcome address, please?
Yes.
No.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, this is hello, Mr. Vikas. Okay, I am Professor Vivas.
Hello, sir.
Hello. I hope so you're doing good.
Yes, I hope all of you are also fine. Pune has a lot of cases. I hope everyone in your family is safe. And if they are recovering well, if they have infected.
Yes, sir. Hopefully all will, sir.
On behalf of PIBM, that is Pune Institute of Business Management, I would like to welcome all of you, and especially Mr. Vikas, who is the CEO of Xanadu Realty. Okay, I would like to extend my warm welcome for this PIBM Virtual Leadership Series, and it's actually our season 2. Okay, and season was a super hit. I think we got CEOs like Mr. Sanjeev Mehta of HUL, then CEOs from Asian Paints. We had CEOs from many, okay, and if I remember, mainly paint was what you call HUL and Asian Paints. And it was a it was really successful. I think we had over close to, I think, around 40 sessions like that from CEOs. And this time we are starting with you, Mr. Vikas. Okay, we are starting with you, leadership series, and I'm sure, like, I know, like, people would say that we have become webinar fatigue and all, but I think the most important thing now is basically we need to see each other. Okay, so basically, and we don't want to lose corporate connect. Okay, and PIBM is in the forefront of very good corporate connect, because we believe, our chairman and our management top leadership believes that whatever we are doing, whatever training that we are trying to impart at PIBM, we are doing it for the corporate, so that our students are industry ready. So industry ready, to make them 100% ready, it's a goal that everybody wants to achieve, but obviously it's possible to make people 100% ready. But definitely we focus tremendous on what the industry requires. So from this perspective, this virtual leadership series helps us a lot in understanding actually what is required from you and actually what is happening, and especially now at this time, okay, in the pandemic time, what are the skills really required, and how Xanadu Realty reality is evolving and how we are looking ahead, once this pandemic stops. Okay, and hopefully soon. Okay, what are you looking at? I'm sure like you will enlighten us with all your experience and thought that you have. Okay, so once again, I would like to welcome all my colleagues, the students, and of course our chief guest, Mr. Vikas, who is the CEO of Xanadu Realty, into this virtual series. So I would like to start this, and I would like to hand over to Naresh.
Yeah.
So we have a small video on Meghna. Can you please introduce her on behalf of entire students
sir.
fraternity, please?
Yes, sir. My pleasure, sir. Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the entire PIBM family, I, Meghna Shadu Khan, welcome you all to our virtual leadership program. It is now time to welcome our esteemed guests for today's discussion. Our guest of honor for today, Mr. Vikas Chaturvedi, is a business professional, a staunch leader and strategist with an experience of more than 21 years in the FMCG and real estate sector. Sir has been associated with various companies like Cadbury India Limited, Colgate-Palmolive India Limited, and Lodha Group, to name a few. Not only in India, but Mr. Vikas Chaturvedi, sir, had also enjoyed an extensive career in the Middle East by serving top MNCs like Reckitt and Marico. Presently, sir is the Chief Executive Officer at Xanadu Realty. It is only under his leadership that even in this unprecedented year of 2020, Xanadu had witnessed skyrocketing sales, with December quarter sales especially touching 1,000 crore mark. In addition to this, Mr. Vikas Chaturvedi, the visionary leader as he is, has expanded Xanadu Realty market across Pune and Bangalore city. Hence, we are much honored to have you, sir, with us to enlighten us in this session in spite of the prevailing pandemic situation. I would now like to request Vikas Chaturvedi, sir, to be a part of our session. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Meghna. Very kind words. I'll start, Naresh.
Yes, sir. The stage is set for you, sir. So it's all you, sir. So after this discussion, we'll be enabling as a moderator, and there will be few question answers from the students, sir. So they like to interact with you more. So the stage is always yours, sir. Please.
How much time do I have? 20 minutes, 15 minutes?
So we will discuss for maybe 20-30 minutes, and then we'll take questions sessions. It's about 3-5 right now. Let us proceed till 3:30, followed by Q&A session, because students like to more interact after hear from you.
I would also love to interact with the students.
That's great.
Thank you, Vikas sir, for the very kind words. And Meghna, when you were speaking, I was wondering, is she speaking about me or someone else? So thanks a lot for those kind words. I would like to dwell or touch upon a few things today. Part of it related to the industry, as I represent the industry to your campus, as well as the careers. Just give me a second. Yeah, sorry for the interruption, like in old Doordarshan days, So let me start with the industry from which I'm coming to your campus today. It's the largest industry of India, and if I were to give you a number and a part of that, part of the industry that it represents, the industry size today annually is about 3 lakh crores. Real estate in primary sales every year sells 3 lakh crore worth of homes. That's the scale of this industry. When it also, if you look at all kinds of jobs, the different industries are allied to this one core industry of our country. And think about it: financial institutions, cement industry, pipes, architects, designers, you keep naming, all of them are are connected to with this core business. When I look at last year and a half or so, or I look at maybe sometime more, in my mind, generally a phrase comes for our industry, which is, I call it fighter industry. It fights. Every time it is backed into a corner, it comes back fighting. And last 4 or 5 years have been such years where, path-breaking work has happened from the regulatory side. You take example of GST, you take example of RERA, or you take unprecedented situations like 2 full years of lockdown or a demonetization. Every time something like this has happened, industry has figured out a way to be resilient and to then not just cope up, survive, but thrive. To put a perspective to it, I think last 2 quarters, which was October, November, December, and Jan, Feb, March, have been tremendous in general for the industry as well. Of course, backed by the stimulus by the governments, but at the same time, you can get all the stimulus, but if you are not ready mentally to cope up to or take advantage of those situations, then you won't do business. So to come out of lockdown, to survive and then to thrive, is something which is almost the DNA of the industry. Now, one interesting fact also is that despite such a huge business which is there, you would realize that in the core business, there is not a single organization that dominates this business. So you talked about Mr. Sanjeev Mehta or from Hindustan Unilever. When you talk about FMCG, that name straight away comes into mind. The organization dominates, has market share. But if I were to tell you that the largest organization is not more than 6,000-7,000 crore of business in the core real estate, and is limited to maybe a couple of cities, that is how this industry is. And part of the reason is because one, the business is consolidated largely in 7 to 8 cities. Out of the 3 lakh crore, actually top 7 cities, including your city, Pune, contribute to more than 80% of the business. And there, the second part, which is the approvals, actually are very, very localized. So it's a very core skill which is required to get a project live. Now, if this kind of business is happening, if despite all odds, if the industry is fighting, what does Xanadu do? Where does it fit in? And is there a need to have something like this? If you look around today, you would realize that while the business or the sales happen, but it is not single organization, like I said, is defining that direction. Why would that be the case? Of course, one part of that is the liaison, approvals and everything. But more importantly, the second part, which is the organization part of the business, which is marketing, sales, strategy, CRM, home loans, is where you realize that the organizations are very weak. Barring very few companies which have been able to transcend this barrier and been able to create great organizations. Generally, it has been the Achilles heel of the real estate companies, developer organizations. Even if they are able to attract talent, it is very difficult for them to retain top talent, because it needs consistent encouragement, learning, development, and that is where then the business does not take off. So that is a second limiting factor that comes in. So when we look around all these companies, the top leadership of sales, marketing and strategy, large part of that comes from the ecosystem of the leadership of Xanadu today. In Mumbai, in Pune, in Bengaluru, a lot of these real estate companies, their sales and marketing leaderships at some point in time used to be part of our organization or work with us as colleagues. And what we realize is that while in every developer organization, the FIs have invested, the developers have invested, projects have come up, but the big question that everyone today faces is that how do you unlock all the value which is stuck into these projects? How does everybody, a business runs when everybody gains something, and that gain comes from unlocking the revenues. And despite 3 lakh crores of business happening every year, how is it that this value is still locked? The part of that is because, say, financing has been institutionalized. Construction has been institutionalized. Great institutions in financing like HDFC and everything is there today. In construction, great organizations like L&T and everything, all those are there, which guarantees quality, timely construction. If you look at marketing and sales and strategy, that is where until now, till 4 or 5 years back, generally the industry tried to solve it through the route of fixing the distribution. And that's where quite a lot of organized players as well as retail channel partners have operated for a very long time. They brought in the value of taking the product to the consumer. But if you look at good consumer industries, the key part that is important is that the comprehensive value chain of bringing revenue in actually is much larger than just distribution. So if you were to look at, in real estate perspective, we realize that right from consumer research to product conceptualization, to brand building, to the go-to-market strategy, to the distribution, to the final sales, then the customer relationship management, home loan solutions, and after that, then finally one can say that there's money in the bank from those sales revenues. And that is where we realize that there's a huge opportunity and value that can be unlocked by someone, an organization which provides an institutional comprehensive approach to create a value chain which unlocks this, and that is where once we started to look at why this sort of opportunity and possibility is there, is because it is very difficult to understand the business of real estate, particularly in the marketing, sales, and strategy side. And the experience that the group has, the leadership group of Xanadu has, was it is very difficult to teach it in classroom. It's a nice combination of people who have done it at a scale, and when it got created, that's when the business happened. Over a period of time, in last 2 years, once the business got established, it was very difficult to define it in a certain way, because there are boxes in which everybody would like to fit an idea, and this was out of the box concept. So that's why it is important to detail it out slightly. When we built it, initially we established ourselves in Mumbai, but as we realized that when the times increasingly got difficult, we realized the relevance of it consistently increased, and the trend has only evolved over a period of time. So from the time where one has to explain this concept to everyone, to now increasing value migration towards an organization like this is the recent phenomenon, is the trend. We are a 700 odd strong organization. It's the largest sales and marketing organization in real estate today, and it is just spread. We have just entered into your city also in Pune. During this period, some of the things that for example, I pursued, which I would call my mantra of leadership, which actually steered the organization during those difficult times, were 3 or 4 points that I pursue, and then our group collectively also believes in, is that we have always competed outside, but internally as an organization we collaborate. We have always have a collaborative participation. The discussions are very aggressive, but they are contributory. If organization does well, then everybody would win, is how the belief that needs to be built into a new age organization. We are a millennial organization. It is most of the employees are under 30 years of age, so it needs to define with the new age of life. Secondly, we likewise we do not take our title seriously, and that's why I was wondering when Vigna was talking. Yes, the title is CEO, but the very important aspect of the leadership today is to be accessible. Accessibility right till the last point of the organization is very important. It is not just a lip service. It needs to be in every sense. So someone should be confident enough to pick phone and call if they have a point of view, if they have an issue, if they have a thought, and should be able to reach out to anyone in the organization. Leaders in our organization connect with the associates across structures. It is not in silos. It is not limited by functions. It is not limited by hierarchy. More importantly, when when that sort of uncertainty kicks in into that an organization faces, and in real estate everybody faced that, which was the survival question of survival, that how would you come out of something like this. It is very important to have everyone be clear on, number one, the vision, and number two, the purpose. What we have tried to build is a purpose driven organization, and everybody has committed to that purpose. It unlocks value by solving problems. So we cannot be in that zone ever to believe that we know everything. So all the time when we are solving a client's problem, we are treating it uniquely, and we are providing unique solutions so that we do full justice to our clients. And most importantly, we realize, as I spoke about right at the beginning, that attracting talent is very difficult. Retaining talent is even more difficult. So at Xanadu, we are very clear. We recruit a very large set of people from outside real estate, as well as from campuses, including yours. We are one of those companies which recruit heavily from your institute. And we do that because we believe that we will nurture our own talent. At Xanadu, the careers are 360-degree. And in modern age, it is an archaic thought that someone would grow only in one vertical or one function. So that is why we continuously strive to provide opportunities wherein people can actually develop into an all-round professional and can grow in the areas of choice eventually at some point in time. That has, so if you look at our leadership today, it has all grown from within. Most of these guys are with us for last 8-9 years. That kind of character, that kind of capability, that kind of strength in the leadership group after such turbulent years of industry is a very difficult one to create. And it has not happened just because the leadership has tried it. It is 50-50. They have committed to the purpose. Leadership has committed to them, and collectively, then that is how a cohort or a group of such leaders and the organization gets created. This then allows a lot of things. It allows the expansion to become easier. It allows you to have predictability of knowing what you have and what you don't. And it allows you to take calls in a much more robust and comprehensive manner when such situations actually arise. I would also like to add here that key traits that have been built into these things. If I were to look at the group and how Xanadu puts focus upon is something that I think one common trait that is across us is ambition. And over the period of time, we have realized that the day you believe that you have achieved something, that day you are done. So your ambition is not to achieve a role or a designation or certain point in career or certain quantum of money. Ambition is about making impact in everything that you do. Ambition is about continuously assessing yourself in how you are versus the world, and the pace at which it is changing these days. 3 years, 4 years is a time in which all that you have learned actually becomes obsolete. So, so unless you are open to that sort of critique of yourself, you won't be adapting. You will get archaic, you will get obsolete, and accordingly, someone will be going ahead of you. That is the definition of ambition inside Xanadu. It is not just the career growth. So few mantras that we have developed and pursued, and all of us have grown through that, is that and I think all the students always think about that: learning versus earning. How would you compare these two objectives? And I have realized, and over a period of time, that generally the concept in campus is first 3-4 years you would like to work with an organization which teaches you, and after that you will go for the money. But we realize that after every 3 years this fork comes. Do you choose learning or do you choose earning? And I can tell from my 21 years now that if you keep choosing learning, all the time, every second year, third year, everything else will be taken care of. Your career, your growth, okay, your relevance into your industry and outside, into your function and outside, and your needs and wants financially also will be not just met, but will be overwhelmingly taken care of. Okay, so that is the broad thought. Every time you are in doubt, think, where will you learn more versus where will you earn more? Because as it said, like equities, in long run, learning will always keep you steadfast. Second, which is also related to this point, is that continuous evolution. How does one evolves continuously? So there's something which is there, that you learn, but after a point in time you may end up unlearning it. You would be forced to unlearn it, and you have to again find a way to learn new things. So learn, unlearn, relearn, and then repeat. It is what continuously happens. And if you are not open to it, then you are a dinosaur sitting to be taken over by someone. Thirdly, always look forward to work with professionals worth their salt. If people are good in the work that they do and you are working with them, then unknowingly you would be learning a lot. They will teach you without actually meaning to teach you. And yes, there is a large value when you are in job, when you are working. There's a large value in classroom training, but there is very large importance of people who work alongside you, people who report into you, people who are your superiors, because the discussions, the interactions, the work environment, it will open up so many opportunities for you if you are aware, that it will really change your life, change your career big time. However, having said that, some of the things, besides all the change that is happening, some of the things that are still relevant today is, are you harnessing your intuition? So your gut instinct, or the calls that come first time, how are you harnessing it over a period of time, through your skill, through your experience? And instinct is not just a call. Instinct actually one can really harness. Number two, do you have expertise or something? Yes, from the campus when you are coming, you are absolutely fresh. But over a period of time, are you becoming expert of something? Have you mastered something? And that is always stand you in good state. Third, you learn, you grow. How do you keep your humility alive? How do you remain humble? Because it will. This is so, and it's contradiction in itself. You need to be ambitious, but at the same time you need to be humble. And it's a fine balance, but at the same time it is critical. And from time to time, keep checking, are you relevant? Because if you close your eyes, if you close your doors of your mind, then it's a matter of time. And with the world changing, and real estate, which is the typical brick and mortar industry, last 2 years it has completely turned around into now acknowledging and accepting tech as a big element of the business. The pace of change has only increased with that. Okay, whatever worked 5 years back, 8 years back is not salient or relevant anymore. Also, the organizations which are big organizations today will not remain big in next 5 years. You already realize that new age organizations are coming in this industry with new ideas, new breakthrough concepts, and it's just a matter of time, before the new age organizations will take over the industry a big time. These are some of the thoughts that I thought I share with the students. I would be more than happy to interact with the students now and take it from there. Thank you.
Fine. Yes, sir. Yes. Sorry, sir. We will take the session from now like this. I was requesting audience and panelists, whom are any question, please do raise your hand so that I can enable you to ask questions accordingly, sir. And let me start with the question. Meanwhile, the participants are ready with their questions. So you are from very diversified sectors, and you worked across national, international, across. Okay, so you are from management, and you just already informed us in detail. Reskilling, upskilling is the only role that everyone have to come in their life, and apart from their growth, they have to be also humble in nature, accessible towards the bottom line of the employees. So it at most covers every personality of individual should carry, irrespective of sector and profile. So apart from this as an attitude, so is there any skill that you pursue or you suggest for a fresh management graduate that where they have to develop, irrespective of sector? Let them looking for real estate sector, let them looking for a job in FMCG, anything, but there are certain competencies they should carry as a management student will help them across. So can you please enlighten our students onto it, sir?
I would say, I think the most important and most underrated, skill is communication, because that's your door to the first step. You might be an expert of anything. Unless you know how to communicate your thoughts, unless you are able to connect with the people to whom you want to really express your idea, it will never work. It's a two-way. So I'm not talking about speaking good English. I'm talking about conversations. I'm talking about communication. Do you really know how to take a pause, good pause? Do you know how to solicit questions? Can you engage with people? Can you have an eye contact? And I do so many interviews every year, and this is one thing that I realized, that despite the management education of 2 years, one thing that students don't focus upon at all, is conversations, communication. They believe that they have read all the concepts and they are ready, but I think they don't focus on it. If they can really invest some time every day, even if they are speaking normally, normal language, even if they converse in Hindi or colloquial or regional languages, it doesn't matter. I don't think anybody focuses on only English speaking anymore, but it is just the sheer lack of ability to have good communication is, I think, which is one big element that I would request all the students to focus upon, whether they are from tech background or they are looking at a sales career, whether they are in finance or statistics. And I'm aware you have a course on that also. So,
yes.
So any function, anywhere, anytime, if you really want to be a good professional, learn to communicate well.
So that's a great suggestion, sir, because under the leadership of Raman, sir, we also realized it in our run of last 12 years, sir. We have a dedicated communication team, which we have been training students till their last semester so that they can be more competent enough, not specific to, as you said, English, like starting from how to mingle with people, how to communicate what they thought in their mind. Let it be an idea, let it be a conversation, whatsoever. So it is an acknowledgement, like no student will get it. Something like communication is also major criteria. It's apart from domain. Yes, domain is something everybody have to learn, but communication, irrespective of their sector profile, that's going to be a long-term journey for them. They have to keep learning communication even as a subject. That's great, sir. So we'll start with your question, sir, with your permission.
Sure.
Can we? Yes. So Shwati, can you please proceed asking question? Shwati, you are in. Yeah, please.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Shwati.
Even though virtual tools do give you a good idea about the property, it is quite hard for buyer in India to commit the purchase decision without making physical visit. So because of amount involved, buyers are delaying site visits because of risk factor. So how your organizations have managed to innovative solutions to this?
Swati, you are absolutely right. The large part of this is it's not just the amount which is involved in the decision making, but it is also a very immersive kind of buying, because most of the times the home that you buy is a one-time decision in life, and impacts almost everything that one would do later, including how the family would live, what sort of neighbors you would have, the quality of life, as well as the loans and everything that one would pay. The immersion only can happen when you create an experience which is right for one to make decisions. So what are the things that someone would need to make the right decision in buying home or buying anything in real estate? What we try to do is, and what we have done is, we have invested into technology, which creates or mimics essentially the physical site virtually. It is not just a mechanism of generating the interest, generating leads, as we call it, or interested customers, but it is the whole journey from interested customer to the final transaction. If it is immersive experience on digital platform, then there is no reason why it can't happen. Today we have projects where we have done 100% virtual sales. It's not just generating interest of the customers virtually and then taking them to the physical site, end to end, without customer actually moving out of their homes. We have done businesses which are at multiple projects where this immersive experience actually has allowed consumer to get all the points or information that they want to make a decision. Eventually it boils down to that decision making tree only on what are the relevant information at the right point that is required for a consumer to make the right decision. That is what we enable, and end to end there is someone holding the hand of the customer to to have that confidence.
That's great, sir. So we have one interesting question in the chat box. So I'll take one question from audience lively and one question I'll read from chat box. So there is a student called Anustri. So being a CEO of the company and being very busy, how do you manage to keep yourself updated with everything happening around?
It is always a challenge. It's a very good question. Look, at some point in time earlier, going on to social media and to all the platforms used to be a private time or personal time, but increasingly in the role of CEO you have to consistently scan, and it is part of the job. So being busy is something which is subjective. I still am able to figure out time for everything that allows me to stay relevant and stay updated. I'll give you an example. When I realized that the AI is increasingly going to be an important aspect of business in future, I've already started to invest some time to learn at least basics of this. I'm sure I won't be able to compete with the people who are the experts of it, but to be able to drive the organization towards that side, I need to be investing into learning all the time myself. So if I expect that from my teams, I need to be doing the same. So if you want to do it, you will always find time. So yes, it is a exercise which is difficult, but until now I have been able to figure it out fine.
That's great, sir. So we have one more student over here. Sabha, can you please proceed?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Sabha.
My name is Sabha and I'm a co-marketing student. My question to you is, as per the reports of IBEF, the real estate sector has been contributing 6 to 7% currently in country's total GDP and is expected to reach a market size of 1 trillion by 2030 and contribute around 13% by 2025. But on the other hand, with the current situation of lockdown due to second wave and news of third wave, we have been witnessing flattening of the Indian housing market. So what factors do you think is keeping the sector still? And how much of the growth are you actually seeing turning into reality?
My sense is the growth would be faster. These are the estimates given by people who project the statistics. My sense is the way country's middle class is growing, the real estate is only going to grow faster than what everybody is expecting. Look, 10, 15 years back, when the mutual fund, equities, and insurance, had regulatory framework set in. After that, those sectors have taken off like anything. Real estate is only in this zone right now. It is becoming consumer friendly right now. 5 years, 6 years back, nobody could imagine buying insurance online. Today, you don't even bother. If you are taking insurance, it will be cleared when you need it. Okay, most of it has gone online. Nobody calls you now and visits you to sell insurance. It is a matter of time before real estate buying will also become that intuitive. And for that, things that are required for a consumer to have is, number one, accessibility to finance. More or less, the mortgage industry or home loans are actually becoming online, or coming online. You can assess your eligibility, CIBIL score is there, and so on and so forth. As the industry evolves into adoption of technology, they will be able to provide adaptive solutions to the unique consumer need. Once that status is reached, after that, there is no reason, if all the regulatory framework is being taken care of, where consumer is confident that if I am buying something, it is correct, okay, and is not getting stuck because it's a very big decision to take. After that, I don't see any issue. Why I say this is because Indian population is very young right now, and the way the jobs are getting created or have been created, lockdown has only actually forced everyone into deciding to buy a house even more. They may not buy it right now because it is uncertain, of course, because of job scenario and everything. But the moment lockdown is gone, first need that everybody is looking at is to own a house. It is very difficult to stay in a rented accommodation when something like this happens. And most of the youngsters who actually stay in cities like Mumbai, Pune, Bangalore, who were staying in bachelor accommodation, shared accommodation, suddenly realize that the need of having their own home, the security that it would have provided, it needs to be taken care of right at the beginning, which is unlocking a very large segment, which we were actually worried the millennials and that kind, would they be really looking at owning something like this? It has completely changed because of this situation. And the easy access to mortgage now is only making it very, very easy to buy. So if someone has a 1 lakh rupee in his bank account today, can walk in or can enter into any website and actually afford to buy a home. So such is the easy process of home buying. So I don't see any reason why it doesn't cross the 1 trillion, the contribution, or 13% contribution. It will be more, is what my sense is.
That's great, sir. So there is one more question in the Q&A session, which is more relevant to our previous discussion. So I'll just reading it out.
Sure.
As per 2020 National Association of Realtors, profile of home buyers and sellers, 51% of the home buyers found their homes on internet, whereas 28% found them through real estate agent. So in times of pandemics, where the movement of people has been quite restricted, what are the changes in strategies by Xanadu Realty to deliver their entire products portfolio information to the customers?
I think it is more addressing the distribution part of it right now, that whether it is through a mom and pop store, which is a one-man real estate broker, or the digital platform through which the customer can get to know about what projects are available. But as I said in my previous answer also, is that it's not just about reaching to the customer and having him information about all sorts of projects or all the attributes of a project that are available, but it is to allow him that immersion, at every step of his decision making, so that he or she is able to make the right call, make the right decision, is how we believe is the way to go. This was 50%, but I can tell you all those 28% or 30% brokers who would have also done that business, some part of their business would have also been digital. So it's a matter of time before 100% virtual process will kick in, even though the lockdown goes away, because it's a very good way to reach out to consumer. In big cities, traffic is in itself a big issue. Also it creates the large skew that when you have holidays, when you have weekends, only on those days you see sales. So it is in organizations' interest, all the real estate companies that are operating, that they figure out a way to be able to reach out to consumer, take their product to the consumer rather than wait for the consumer to come to them. Take the product to the consumer and at the convenience of his time. Today, if you are doing it in working hours, it is 10 to 6, maybe 7, sometimes 8, 8:30 on a weekend. But what about 8:30 to 10? Okay, what about if consumer wants to access it in the night, which is the maximum time where maximum browsing actually happens? Can you provide information? So it will just unlock a lot of value. So 50% is just a number. It is going to be 100%.
So we have one more question from a participant itself. Meghna, can you please proceed with your question?
Yes, sir. Sir, basically, sir, according to statistics, like 30% turnover rate is from the hypo section. And sir, since you talked about talent acquisition and retention, so sir, every 2 out of 5 HR professionals, they lack the confidence on the hypo professionals as well. So sir, according to you, what strategies or innovations can be brought into, or maybe has been brought into Xanadu in order to decrease this regretted turnover, sir?
I think larger part of the turnover actually originates, Meghna, from getting exposed to all those forks. When the employees, when the students actually start their career, this continuous scanning of the environment is always there. How am I doing? How my peers are doing? Where have they joined? Where have I joined? And it consistently gives them a stimuli where a decision has to be made all the time. What organizations can do is to make it such a comprehensive and seamless environment which allows the associates or the employees, particularly youngsters, to be able to reach out and say, how do you see I'm doing? Rather than waiting for only the appraisals to happen. The traditional way has been that at the end of the year, someone will tell you what you are not good at, or what you are good at and what is happening to you. But if it has to be evolving, if it is evolutionary in nature, then it needs to be a discussion which is without the burden of something needs to come out of it. When that burden is off, then the contribution towards an individual is much more. It is in a safer environment. And if the confidence is provided to associates where they are able to seek out their seniors or their peers, and really ask on what all they should do, what track they should follow, what do they like, what they don't. I think that is one place which is where large work is happening these days. We also believe in it. It is earlier it used to be considered as a desirable trait for an organization. But as I see, increasingly, it will be not just good to have, but a mandatory need of every organization. You should do your job well as a company, whatever you know. But at the same time, unless you are able to build this kind of culture inside the organization, 9 out of 10 times, it will be very difficult to retain talent. So after that, after doing all these things also, you may lose people. So as long as you lose them for the right reasons, which is someone is getting something which you cannot provide, you bid them all the best and farewell. But otherwise, you should always have that interaction so that you are aware what all people are interested in, where all they intend to go into, and as an organization, are those opportunities that can be created for people to move into those roles, and not just limited to their functions or structures or geographies. Associates on their side has to also at the same time not get constrained by it. A lot of times what happens is associates get committed to certain things very quickly, to a certain city, to a certain kind of thought process, to a certain kind of function, role, and that prevents them from exploring. Most of the times it is a fear. I've invested 5 years into sales. Shall I now go into HR? Nobody thinks. So sales to marketing is a very logical move. Marketing to sales is another logical move. Everybody believes strategy is something that they should be doing. But are there avenues open for you if you really like managing people well? Is HR an option for you? If you are a good HR, but you are always hunting the targets of maybe budgets, saving against budgets, always aggressive about that, is sales a career for you? Can an organization provide that kind of thought process? And can an associate really think about something like that to have that open outlook? Actually builds careers these days.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the great insights.
Sure.
So Kunal, can you please proceed with your question?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Kunal.
Sir, how Xanadu maintaining a winning streak throughout the lockdown? The firm added a milestone. Its record book by selling 800 units and creating a massive sale revenue of 250 crore in August. How, sir, in this pandemic?
Kunal, last year when lockdown hit and pandemic hit in April, we had already taken a call sometime in March, mid-March, before the lockdown or the Janta curfew and everything kick in, is to give people leave for 15 days so that they can reach their homes safely. Since large part of our team is young, unmarried or about to be getting married or just married, we were aware that they will find it very difficult if a lockdown happens. So somewhere around 15th March, mid of March, actually, people safely traveled and reached their homes. Once we took care of the safety of people, the second question which was to be answered was to provide them that comfort that we are not asking anybody to go. So that was the second step that we took. We provided safety, then we provided comfort to people that they are not going anywhere. The organization will ensure that they are employed inside Xanadu only. Once those two things are taken, after that, organization in itself, its ambition is so large that it says, tell me what needs to be done and I'll make it happen. And from there, then we just never look back. The moment you provide this kind of clarity that organization is standing behind you, after that, the organization takes care of everything that comes across it as a challenge. So since we are problem solvers as an organization, this was also a problem that needs to be solved. And we treated it the way it should have been treated. We assessed all the situation and then eventually provided a solution. So from a brick and mortar organization, we became the organization that adopted technology much earlier than before anybody else. We integrated end to end, and today we are happy to say that it allows us to do much larger business than anybody else. Also, we thought about thriving when everybody was thinking about surviving. We thought about growth and expansion when everybody was thinking about coping up with pandemic. So in every adversity, those sort of opportunities are always there. Those are some of the changes in the mindset and in the approach that we took, which is allowing us to grow even when the times have been difficult and uncertain.
Sir, I have a small submission. By due respect of all the attendees over here and panelists, there are a lot of questions raised in chat box in all the forum. Like there are a lot of Q&A questions are still there. Chat box are there. Still, a lot of attendees are raising their hands. So
I can take some.
Yes, so with your due permission, we'll take a couple of more questions. Sir. So Paurav, can you please proceed with your question quickly?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Paurav.
So my question is, in 2019, Xanadu was ranked in the top 50 great place to work. So the main reason, the idea was that it had given 5% increment to its employees who were getting married or getting a childbirth. So these kinds of employee motivations help employees. So as you were talking previously about keeping the cost in mind above the company. So how does these plannings are made that giving a 5% increment is a big number, and there are quite a number of employees out there. So even for marriage as well for childbirth. So what is the planning behind about this, fixing the number, and at what intervals it will be given? So yes, sir. Could you just enlighten on that?
Paurav, more than the 5% or the value of it, it is a concept. The concept is if employees are going to dedicate half of their time or more than half of their time in the organization, then it almost becomes second home. And for a millennial organization, the classical ways of appraisal only won't work. And then you realize what are the life-changing events where things change absolutely in a matter of few days with after that event. Marriage, childbirth were two such life-changing events that we identified, and we said organization should be able to contribute and should be able to give visibility right at the beginning when someone is joining the organization. As far as cost is concerned, cost is always relative, so yes, absolutely, it is a number, but the value that it creates, the affiliation that it brings, and the connect that an associate can have, that in my happy moment, the organization is also happy with me, is something that we started. It was not just in 2019, it is there right from the time when we actually started in 2015. It is part of our structure. Secondly, for example, we give a holiday on Valentine's Day, so if your associates are young, what connects to them is what the organization should be doing. So for example, we mandate at least minimum one block leave that everybody takes of 6 days in a year, so that they recharge, refresh, and it is not encouraged that they don't take leaves at all, because we are aware our work is very strenuous. Because it is consumer facing industry, we don't say no to the consumer, so it puts a lot of burden on associates. So it is very important for them to find that block in their year, besides the regular routine that everyone pursues. So we know these sort of things are required, so we don't see them from the lens of cost, we see them from the lens of value.
So the one last question, sir. Vibhum, can you please? Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Please proceed, sir.
Vibhum was actually in the queue.
Yes, sir.
He had texted me personally, sir, I'm not able to ask. I'm not getting a chance. So I just thought that.
Yes,
yeah, Vibhum, please carry on.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir.
Hi, Vibhum.
Sir, you have answered my question in bits, but I want to know more on this. Like we can see in FMCG, the demand is much on the higher side these days. But if we talk about doing big investments, the people are not very confident. So what kind of business are you getting right now or in this pandemic situation? And the second question is that, sir, are you planning to expand your business all over India as well as internationally?
Okay, to answer your first question, Vibhum, look, real estate buying or home buying is not a impulse buying. It's a very calibrated and careful decision, and a lot of immersion actually goes into it. So in that sense, a lot of responsibility is on the organizations and the developer organizations, companies like Xanadu, who are operating in this domain to really trigger that need, trigger that thought. Now, in terms of the demand, demand is always there. To put in perspective, for example, there's a family, it stays in its own home, doesn't need any further home buying. But then the son gets married or daughter gets married, then suddenly the need for second house comes in. If someone is there right at that point in time with the right product, that need can be triggered. So it is always there at the back of the mind. Indians want to have their own house. Indians want to have invested into land. Real estate is the most traditional form of investment, which has been the most lucrative investment also. It has lost its sheen because of all the issues that it had in past 7, 8, 10 years. But having said that, if you put the real estate investment on a pedestal today and say, okay, all the issues that consumers had, if those are getting resolved, then there is no reason why it is not regaining its sheen that it always had enjoyed. So at the back of the mind, all of you who are students, I am telling you, when you will join your job, join the first job, and you are 2-3 years into the system, your parents will tell you, beta ek ghar le le, buy a piece of plot. And if you can't buy in your own city, buy in your hometown. Half of you will think, can I buy something for my parents? Okay, some of you would like to settle down into your own city. The need is there in everyone's mind. It's just the fear, of committing to it. And when do you commit to it? That is where people like us come in, to trigger that need and make any time the right time to commit. As far as the second part of the second question of yours, Vibhum, in the time when everybody was compressing, we have already entered into Bengaluru and Pune. We are in the process of building the organization in Pune right now. Should be the largest real estate organization, sales and marketing organization in Pune also. The logical step for us is to be the pan-national, pan-India organization, to be present in all the major markets, which is all the top 10 cities, and then we see it from there whether we need to enter other cities or not. And we are definitely looking at 2 or 3 international markets, not just from India perspective, but also from looking at it to be doing the business in those markets for those markets. So the answer is absolute yes. And that's our journey that we are looking at in next 2 to 3 years.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insight.
Yeah, Mr. Chaturvedi, very good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What I wanted to ask, what is the affinity between FMCG sector and real estate sector which allowed you to take a career transit from FMCG to real estate? And if you can give certain enlightenment with respect to the customer journey, with respect to end user experience, with respect to channels, if you can just give us certain insights on this.
So my journey was not decided on the consumer this thing. My journey was decided on the kind of people whom I would be working with. I worked with great set of professionals in FMCG, and when I came in touch with the leadership here, then I realized that the quality of people with whom I would be working and interacting on day-to-day basis, I'm not losing anything. Second, and I would be gaining only, because these are as good professionals from their fields as I am. Secondly, 15 years is a very long time in an industry. So I was outgrowing the region of Middle East and North Africa. So I had to look out somewhere outside the Middle East and North Africa within FMCG also. At that point in time, when the options open up, then the industry also opens up. Now, coming back to the consumer journey, if you would realize that it is within FMCG also, there are 2 or 3 different kinds of products, or categories. In a lot of sense, it is almost like a destination category, if one were to look at it. So it's not an impulse purchase. Xanadu actually operates in a way so that decision making that goes for a calibrated decision making actually becomes impulse. By providing all the information in such a compressed way and a consumable way, that decision making becomes easier. The fear goes away. So it is not just about providing the information, how the sales or business happens. It is about providing at a point when the consumer needs it. This is exactly what happens in an FMCG. So if you were to have, if you enter into a store, say modern trade is what is evolving today. You might have gone to buy only, say, vegetables, which is the destination category, but the customer flow of the store would be designed in a way that you get multiple stimuli from different points, and how more profitable categories are kept right at the front, for example, electronics, TVs, mobiles, and so on and so forth. And vegetables are kept right at the last, while through your route, you get all those stimuli and the need is triggered. When the need is triggered, you spend almost 80% of your time in front of the aisles, which you did not plan to do, and when you step out of that market, you realize maybe you planned for 1,000 rupees basket that day, but you ended up spending about 5,000 rupees. So 80% of your sales actually happened non-planned. It was a need which was there somewhere in subconscious. It is the marketeers and the seller's role to bring that need out and provide that information right at that time when you are ready to transact. So journey is pretty similar. In fact, we play a lot of, we put a lot of emphasis on people who come from consumer industry. I have come from consumer industry. Most of our leadership has worked in industries like automobile, like FMCG, hospitality, or banking and insurance. all these industries are consumer facing industries, because when we go back to our clients, which are developers, the problem solution actually starts from this first question: why would a consumer buy you? And that question is the most important question. From there, everything then originates. So the process is similar. Yes, the inflection points or the points that make impact in the decision are different.
That's great, sir. Sir, like, we respect all the questions and the audience, because there are quite more questions by considering the time. So now I'm requesting Dr. Rashi Pillai ma'am, our Deputy Director, to give a thanks note, sir, because we keep talk because students have been having more interest to continue. So I'm requesting Rashi ma'am, can you please proceed?
Thank you, Naresh sir. Vikas sir, thank you so much for such an impactful message, the way you have portrayed for our students, starting from the industry, talking about real estate, then challenges, then how to overcome, and also portraying the leadership, then, employee perspective, everything, what business requires. Plus, sir, you have given very important message to my students. I think I'm getting few messages, for your session. They really liked your session. And sir, I would like to just, highlight those. One is you mentioned about DNA of an industry is just surviving. Rather than that, you mentioned about thriving. I think my students can take inspiration from it, It's just not about surviving, but thriving. And sir, you have emphasized on two important skill set, which are like collaboration, having purpose in life, solving problems. Of course, and apart from that, you mentioned that being relevant. I think, sharpening their saw is also very important. That's what you have conveyed, because students feel that, after MBA, their study is finished, but it's not,
Yes,
right? So thank you so much for bringing in so that it clearly imbibe in students' mind. And you mentioned that being ambitious as well as being humble. That's very important message, sir, because when we become ambitious, we tend to lose, humbleness. So thank you so much, sir. And sir, I look forward to see you at PIBM to address my students and meet my faculty members, sir. After this, lockdown and little pandemic gets over, sir.
We also look forward to, ma'am, to come to your campus. The energy that you feel when you come to PIBM is amazing. The interaction with students is what is being missed. Yes, it is virtually there, but it can't replace the interaction at the campus. And that is the dilemma that everyone is facing these days. Yes, virtually all the solutions are available, but it can't replace the human interaction. And pleasure has been all mine. I missed out last year. Karthik had been really pursuing me somehow or other. We just could not coordinate. So it has been a pleasure to interact with all of you. My warm wishes to Raman sir also. He keeps interacting on WhatsApp. We keep exchanging messages, and we definitely look forward to coming to your campus this year also, and look at the students becoming part of Xanadu in the truest tradition, like it has been for last 3 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We look forward. Please stay safe,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Take care. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.